And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the deck. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He's Jalen versus everybody. Dome. I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in. Center stage on the mic.
Try to trick Reg.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new style.
We're Jalen and Jacoby. What do we do?
We get the people what they want. I have to ask you, Reg, Harlan, Tyner, the entire amazing J&J
Lauren,
staff.
Curtis, Alex.
Name them all.
JC.
I miss everybody.
Carlos, John Lawrence.
No doubt.
Kels.
How do you guys cope
Snowden.
when I'm not here with not having the coldest introduction in the history of television and podcast? How do you do it?
It's a downgrade. But you know,
There's no way to replace that.
But here's what we do get. A studious, engaged, prepared co-host. Like, I get phone calls before the show or text messages like, are we going to discuss this today? Because this is the angle I was thinking.
Really?
And when me and Jalen go through the show, a lot of times you go, yeah. Are we done? I'm like, no, that's just the A's, Jalen.
And while we're doing that, I'm usually probably on one of my phones or eating.
Of course. Today, you had 3 hard-boiled eggs. I'm way into hard-boiled eggs as a nice, healthy snack. They're a great protein-filled,
already saying
healthy
what?
snack.
What's wrong with that?
So he had 3 hard-boiled eggs, and then he takes one of those packets of Hellmann's mayonnaise, squirts it all over the eggs with the salt and pepper on top, which is, you got to have the salt and pepper on top. I respect that. But mayonnaise plus hard-boiled eggs, I've never seen it. And your response, as well as my wife's response, is what?
It's deviled eggs.
No, deviled eggs. I don't even want to Google it. I'm just going to guess. They have like paprika and cumin. You take the egg yolk out. You mix it up with the mayonnaise. It becomes a different thing. It's not just sloppy mayo on top of eggs.
It's an abbreviation. I'm at work. I don't have anybody on the Get Up or Jalen and Jacoby staff.
Oh my God. Are you listening to this, man?
Me deviled eggs.
Are you listening to this, man? You sold out so much that you need a deviled eggs guy. That's what you need. You're like, your next contract, you'd be like, yo, agent, make sure you put something in so I can get someone to make me deviled eggs every day.
No, I actually don't need deviled eggs. That's why I'm doing a modified version that you see me eat.
It didn't look that bad. It was just odd.
You said you like the eggs. You said you like the salt and pepper. The only thing that really threw you off is the mayo.
I think, would you rather have ketchup or mayonnaise on your hard-boiled eggs? I would probably go ketchup.
What?
Yep. You would never put ketchup on scrambled eggs? Never put ketchup on fried eggs? Never put ketchup on an egg sandwich? It's the same thing.
For everyone listening, 2 things. Basically, to me, mayonnaise and Miracle Whip are likely the same thing. I know a lot of people try to quantify or change the difference. They're basically the same to me.
I've tried to explain to you what quantify means. It's just not really sinking in.
But I like the way I use it.
I like the way you use it too.
So here's the other part I want to say. I know it's more Southern, in my opinion.
Regional?
To put ketchup on your eggs. I have officially never done that in my life.
Really? Don't knock it till you try it.
I'm already knocking it.
Hot sauce? What about hot sauce?
No hot sauce.
Oh, I kind of can't eat eggs without. I can eat eggs without hot sauce, but I need some hot sauce around.
Only thing I like on my eggs are other, like, condiments.
Hot sauce is a condiment.
No, I mean like onions or cheese.
Those aren't condiments.
What do they consider?
No. Other ingredients?
Or other ingredients.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I like on my eggs.
If you are making eggs at home, what goes into it?
First off, it's not breakfast without eggs.
Well, let me say this: you're like, because we all sometimes just whip up some eggs just to get it done. We gotta get out the door or whatever. But I mean, if you're really like going in, it's Molly's birthday, and you're like, let me put some care and love and effort into these eggs. What's your go-to?
Tomato, onions, and cheese.
Tomato's interesting. That's good. What kind of cheese?
Provolone.
Provolone. Do you put a little bit of milk in, if it's scrambled or fried? Scrambled, I imagine, with all these ingredients.
I make some of the best fried eggs in the country. Slightly runny.
But you put tomato on top.
Molly prefers scrambled eggs.
Okay.
Whites. That's what she prefers.
Oh, that's a little extra effort.
Not really.
I never really understood. I'm sure I'm wrong about this, so don't at me about it. But I feel like the effort that you put into getting egg whites is not worth the health benefits. Like, what's in the yolk that's going to be so bad for you? It's not like fried versus baked French fries. It's like where there's a dramatic difference in how healthy it is. It's like egg whites versus eggs. Like, all right, a little less cholesterol or whatever, but like, you got to pour the thing back and forth in the shell and all that. Like, it's just not worth it.
And maybe because deviled eggs is something that I really love from my mom growing up. If I was only eating egg whites, it wouldn't require mayo.
You know, egg whites are one of the main ingredients in mayo.
The actual
Do you know what's in mayo?
Makes me want them.
Do you know how they make mayonnaise? I don't really know. I know two of the things. Basically like egg whites and vinegar.
So it makes sense that this is how, and what I'm drinking in the morning. So all of this makes sense now.
There it is.
I knew I was a genius.
You should just have vinegar. You should just have mayonnaise for breakfast.
I knew this.
Stop the Jalen juice. Stop the hard-boiled eggs. Just drink vinegar. Just drink mayonnaise for breakfast.
It's like Albert Einstein with his E equals MC squared. Then it's my breakfast formula.
Exactly. I have one secret ingredient for eggs, which always makes everything taste better. You go to the spice rack in your store. Get Italian seasoning. It's basically just like oregano and basil mixed up. Put those on your eggs. It goes really well with the flavor of eggs. And it adds a little bit of class to the eggs. Like, you'll have people over your house eat them. Be like, what? They'll ask about it. Like, what it tastes like? What is that?
I'll try that.
And you just say, oh, it's Jacoby special. It's really just Italian seasoning.
I'll do
a dash of that is great.
Here's how that will work. Like everything else in this relationship.
It goes well with the cheese and the tomato.
For the last 7 years. The first time is because Jacoby told me.
Oh, yeah, of course.
After that, I'm owning it.
Oh,
it's
of course.
mine.
Of course. And that's fine. That's mutual. You think I'm not talking to my friends being like, Julius Randle got short arms. Look at him. Short arms. All the time. I plagiarize from you all the time. That's a brotherhood. That's how this works.
A co-production.
Another way this works for our podcast exclusive listeners, think of the topics we can't put on TV. Reggie, hit the button.
Too hot for TV.
So, in a place called Ratchapuri, it's outside of Bangkok, there's a group of mechanics, okay? And they're homeboys. They work hard. Mechanics work with their hands, get greasy, get dirty. They have tools. They work real jobs, not like us, right? And then Friday comes around. They want to just let off some steam. So they do what, all hardworking, real men that work with their hands do. They want to sing. So they go to the karaoke spot. Karaoke spots.
You hear this, Alex?
They get crunk. Okay? Shout out to Alex Montilla, one of our producers. He's a karaoke legend.
He is.
Host. He's got, I think he's twice a week gig in Los Angeles.
Let me give you guys a visual of what Alex is as it relates to karaoke.
The Michael Jordan of karaoke.
Yes.
The Michael Jordan of karaoke.
Yes. If he's not MJ, he's Kobe.
Yeah. But I want to see MJ. I've never seen MJ. I've seen Alex. As far as I'm concerned, he's the Michael Jordan of karaoke. So they're in Ratchapuri. These mechanics they have a couple extra. They probably didn't eat. I'm guessing they didn't eat because they got crunk. So two colleagues go back. Imagine, I don't want to say me and you, but so let's imagine Harlan and Alex, two of our producers. They're mechanics. And they go back. And Harlan goes back to Alex. No shots at anybody. I guess got to use names. Harlan goes back to Alex's house. Alex is like, let me host you right. Let me go out and get some beer, 2 a.m. He makes a beer run. He comes back. His wife is screaming. And saying, this dude tried to push up on me while you left to get the beer. Next thing you know, this guy wakes up in the morning in a hospital with no penis. Has no idea what happened. He just remembers doing karaoke. Next thing he knows, he wakes up in the morning with no penis. The police start to investigate, and they find out that it was retribution for the alleged misconduct on his wife. The dude, and it said he used his tools to assault and dismember his colleague that violated. My question for you, Jalen Rose, was justice served?
A minus.
Oh, you think he took it too far?
No, you should have slit his throat.
You're going the other way. You didn't take it too far. Because, one thing I never understand in all of this, I'm going to make this semi-serious, especially for people in relationships, the whole I was drunk. I was drunk is not really an excuse. It does impair your judgment, but it doesn't turn you into somebody that you are not.
So here's an active lesson. And listen close.
I really thought about putting this in the TV section. I was like, I don't know how.
I want everybody to listen close.
Listen close, everybody. Pull over if you're driving your car. There's a difference
between somebody that's a coworker, somebody that's a friend, or somebody that's a brother from another mother. Those are way different categories.
It's very fair.
I know for a fact there are probably a couple of individuals that David Jacoby, if he was put in that same position, would have left at home with his wife. Not because...
Good point.
That
I like this. Put
he doesn't trust her or him. It's just that you don't want to put that situation together. You don't want to put either one of them in an awkward spot.
I'm glad you brought this up. I never thought of it from this dude's angle. It's like, this is, if this person has the potential to do that, then you shouldn't, don't give the referee something to call.
Because the one thing I learned is that morning he did wake up with a penis.
The other guy didn't.
The morning of the incident.
Oh, yes, he did.
He woke up with a penis.
Yes. And he worked on some cars, and decided to let off some steam.
Those get erected.
Whoa!
It just happens in life.
Push the too hot for TV button, Reg.
Okay? And you all of a sudden don't want to fan a flame of a situation that could go the way it did. So therefore, here's what you do. Simple theory. Somebody need to go to the store.
You go to the store.
You go to the store. And if he can't go to the store, we go to the store.
And if he can't go to the store, then maybe he shouldn't be drinking more beer.
Boom. And here's the other thing that before you even went so far into the story, I was going to say. And I talk to my friends a lot about this, and a couple of them listen to this podcast. They know who I'm talking to. When you're out to kick it, the initial fun, that can actually be the end of the night. When you try to double down and all of a sudden you kicked it until 2 and it was a great evening, now you back in the phone and you trying to text or you trying to go to the store to get extra brew, the night's over.
Night's over. I have a few things about that. Number one, and this, and everybody listen to this. I'm 22 years in the game of champagne campaigning, right? More like beers at dive bars, but still. And a couple things you got to pay attention to. Number one, eat. You got to eat, got to eat, got to eat. Got to eat, okay? Number two, what I call the drinking window. Because sometimes it's July, you're at the beach, and you're like, you know what? This is beautiful. I'm going to start drinking at 10:30 or crack open that first beer. If that's your plan and you've got evening plans, you can't have a 12, 14-hour drinking window. If you're going to do some drinking while the sun's out, you have to take a nap. You have to take a shower. You have to reset, change your clothes if you plan on going back out. Then you need 2 drinking windows. When you try to have an 8-hour, 9-hour drinking window, it's not going to work out for you very well.
And also, take it from somebody that just did 2 weeks of honeymooning, and 98% of the drinking was by himself. Okay?
She had one just to make you not feel bad at dinner or something.
Every now and then.
Yeah.
Let me take a sip. Let me taste it. But for the most part, it's a great balance because I'll drink enough for both of us.
That's good. That's good.
Okay. Number one, whatever you're drinking before 12, that's a different drink.
Yes.
The sun's out. It's early in the day. So for me, it's like a pina colada.
Yeah. You're not doing shots of Jameson.
But I'm not going to do an old-fashioned.
No.
At that point of the day.
Bartenders shouldn't even give, like a tattoo artist won't give you a whack tattoo. They should be like, I can't do that for you, sir.
Correct. I'm only doing an old-fashioned after 6 p.m.
Yes.
So during the day, if I'm going to do something between like 12 and 6, then you have the random things, like you said, like a beer.
Yeah, I do beers.
Or
I do
something
beers
to
during
cool
the day.
out.
Yeah.
Or for me, a red wine, spritzer, or like, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. My red wine, sangrias. That's what I do.
That's probably why you're drawing a blank.
So before 12, for me, fruity drink, i.e. pina colada. Between 1 and like 5, something that's halfway between the morning and the evening, like a sangria for me. Some people like beer.
You shouldn't be that
After
intoxicated.
6, you can do whatever you want.
If I'm intoxicated before 2 p.m., it's scheduled that way.
Correct.
It's like I am going to be in bed at 8 o'clock.
You're a vet.
I don't have any dinner plans.
You started this conversation by saying you were a vet.
Yeah, it's just like if I'm intoxicated and it's before 4 p.m., trust me, I've cleared out 6 p.m. on. And sometimes I'll text my wife and be like, you're putting the kids to bed because I don't want to be slurring while I'm reading Llama Llama Red Pajama.
That's what I love about this program, because we could be a combination of sports, politics, lifestyle, and bring personal dynamics on wax, like Lorena Bobbitt 2018 stories. Because for me, I thought you was going to say she actually did that to him. If that was me, should have slit his throat.
Depends. Is it a colleague? Is it a friend, or is it a brother from another mother? Does anyone get a pass?
Well, first off,
does anybody get a pass?
Well, hold on.
No one gets a pass.
Hold
But
on.
there's different. I think it's judged on a curve.
Hold on. No, it's not. Brother from another mother ain't doing that.
Would never do that. That's fair.
So you don't even have to worry about it. You don't have to think about it. It ain't happening. It ain't going down like that. It ain't all of a sudden you walk out the door at 2:01 and he like, oh, those are nice pajamas.
That's so wrong. Even thinking about that makes my skin crawl.
Correct.
It makes my skin crawl. Just thinking about it.
Oh, man. He didn't tell you?
I had a friend in high school.
I love your hair the way it is these days.
I had a friend in high school who had a very attractive, older girlfriend, may or may not have been a dancer. And he was doing the same thing. He was going for a run, and he said, I'm not going to leave you two alone. I felt so disrespected. So disrespected. I was just like, what?
Let me ask you a 22-year in the game question now. Are you and him still friends?
Of course.
Okay. That's why.
I felt disrespected.
No, that was not disrespect. That was not disrespect. The first year we were doing this podcast, if I was at your place and it was 2 a.m. and we needed to go get beer, you would not have left me at home with your wife.
No.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. But now, since I'm a brother for another mother, you will leave me at home with the wife and the kids.
Of course.
Okay.
I'll leave you at home with just the kids, and me and my wife will go out, say we're going to get beer, end up going to a spot, come back 3 hours later, but you sleeping on the couch.
Correct. That's my point exactly.
Can I book that for a couple Wednesdays from now?
You can book it this weekend. We told you to come and drop off the kids.
We're coming up this weekend. My wife's out of town for 10 days. Out of town for 10 days. And here's the thing is, I'm going to complain about it. I'm going to act like to my wife it's so hard. It's not so hard. We got babysitters coming over. They're in camp. Like, when you've had this many kids this long, it's like work. They're my kids. I can take care of them. It's not even that big a deal.
Since I have a wife now that clearly doesn't listen to the program or watch the TV show anymore.
Used to, though.
She used to be listening to 2 hours
we used
of radio.
To get notes. We used to get notes.
During the show.
Yeah, text during the show.
She'll
and
do
everything.
either one now.
Someone's going to tweet her about this, though. So don't tweet her about, don't break the code of silence.
Yeah, exactly. This is Foxhole Conversation.
Yes.
This is Locker Room 101. Okay. Since my wife doesn't follow the program like she used to, and your wife is going to be gone for 10 days, I want to help you out with some advice.
Okay.
There's no reason you shouldn't be at the house at least 3 days with the kids and have my wife help you watch them. And then before you know it, you and I are in an Uber and we're somewhere having beverages.
Oh, we have to go. We have to run to the store. We need to get some toilet paper. They ran out of toilet paper in New York City. They ran out of toilet paper in the tri-state area. We had to go to Delaware.
And that applies for you, Kayla Johnson, the social media expert that also does a podcast for the Undefeated that's in the locker room right now.
Shout out.
You can't divulge that secret. So when it happens, it's like, we'll be right back. Here's the grocery list. Me and Jacoby just run to the store.
Yeah, let's go to the store. No big deal.
Kids will be fine.
We'll be back.
They're with their aunt.
Another thing is, I know what time they're going to fall asleep. And I specifically come home after that time. Like, I've gone golfing, and it's like, I could be home at 7:30. But I was like, Quincy goes to sleep at like 8:30.
8:01. 8:31.
9:01. 9:01 is my return. Hey, Joey. Is Quincy asleep? She's like, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed him. Would have been nice to see his face before he went to bed.
And for all of those individuals that have corporate jobs, 8 to 4, 9 to 5, basically what he's saying is, I'm going to use my 8 hours of work plus my 2 hours of happy hour like everybody else, like what everybody else does anyway. Mm-hmm. It's just that you don't have a quote-unquote corporate job. So it's like, wait a minute, I could be home in 5 hours. Nah, I want to be at home 7. So I advise you over these next 10 days when she's gone, you must bring the kids over at least 3, and we'll disappear at least 1 or 2 of them.
I would love that. Well, I'm coming over this weekend. Getting everybody in the car. Because the thing is, it's a time killer. The car rides, people think it's bad. It's great. That's 2 hours. I don't have to do anything. Just drive. Play some Moana. You know what I mean? You down with the Moana soundtrack?
I know about it.
Frozen soundtrack?
I support it. I've seen the Frozen movies.
Oh, they come out with a Broadway play now, too.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to go with y'all to see that. That'd be dope. I'll go see that.
Reggie, where's the That's a Lie button?
I will.
Let's give people what they want.
I'm a squeaky toy, and I've got one job, getting chomped on by this little ankle sniffer. So pardon me for feeling inept compared to Geico, who does so much more. Like while I'm getting slobbered on, Geico is creating cool technology like their mobile app, which lets people pay their bills or file a claim. Plus, Geico is the fastest growing auto insurer for the last 10 years. Is it too much for me to ask for one more feature? Fast and friendly claim service like Geico, maybe? Oh, great. I'm getting buried again.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
You just got back from vacation. And summertime is a time for vacation and enjoyment and just sort of celebrating the year that you've had. And I always say people don't celebrate enough. Well, someone who does celebrate enough is a gentleman by the name of Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft is in Las Vegas partying with Meek Mill, Ben Simmons, and Kevin Durant. What do you think Robert Kraft is doing with this, younger crowd?
Enjoying himself. This is what millionaires do.
Billionaire, sorry. He would be so disrespected if he heard you say that.
He's not the only person pictured there.
Okay.
He's probably the only billionaire pictured there.
Now you're wrong about that too, but move on.
And so, either way though, what Robert Kraft has shown me over the last couple of years is a different side of his personality. First and foremost, I always thought he was buttoned up, straight-laced.
Belichick.
Type of ownership that would be more distant from what we now embody as the hip-hop community. Now that I see he embraces it.
Oh, he's embraced it.
I have a different level of appreciation of how he runs his squad and who he is.
I like it because it seems so juxtaposed to a Bill Belichick personality. Bill Belichick would not be in Vegas with Ben Simmons. Bill Belichick doesn't know who Ben Simmons is. You know what I mean? Bill Belichick does not know who Kevin Durant is or Meek Mill. He's like, Meek Mill? I think I visited that town in Massachusetts once. But like, I like that he's doing this, but I have some other questions. As somebody who gets fatigued easily, especially when it comes to champagne and campaigning, how is he still awake? Like, isn't he tired?
And I'm pretty sure they have some favors going around. I wonder if he's a contributor. But I will say this.
Mm-hmm. You got the TMZ Sports picture right there. I think Kevin Durant's wearing a Golden State Warriors hat. Is that corny? That's corny to me.
Well, they just won a championship the last 2 years.
Do you know what I think it is?
Can rock with you.
You know what I think it is? I think it's the bald spot. He's got the bald spot. He's self-conscious about it, so he throws the hat on.
Let me ask this question. Was one of the owners of the Sixers pictured in there too?
Yes.
So here we go.
Yes.
The owner of the Sixers is giving Robert Kraft a cool factor.
He is. So I started thinking about owners and champagne campaigning, and I came up with a little list. The top 5 champagne and campaign owners. First, we have Robert Kraft. There he is. And then we have Jerry Jones, of course. And then there's Cuban in the club.
Signing
contracts in the club. And now we have Michael Jordan with your guy, Kid Rock, and, of course,
that was Wayne Gretzky,
the legend,
too.
Dr. Jerry Buss. What do you think about that top 5?
I think it's a really nice top 5. I think Jerry Jones is underrated.
He's underrated. The owners, the billionaires keep their CNC activities under wraps.
Well, I can Google some of the things he's done.
Yes, you can.
And you can. I like your list, but the Hall of Famer is number 1, Dr. Jerry Buss.
Dr. Jerry Buss, I know.
And I want to make sure that I uphold his legacy by announcing that the 2 best owners to me in sports in my lifetime were the boss of the Yankees, George Steinbrenner. Okay. And the leader of the Los Angeles Lakers, Dr. Jerry Buss. The level of success, how they managed their teams, how they navigated coaches, put together rosters, were forward thinkers, were first and foremost why I applaud them. Second, Dr. Jerry Buss actually allowed me to be a fly on the windshield before. I've actually been present watching the NBA Finals in the suite of the legend. Getting a chance to partake.
That sounds like a story time with Jalen Rose.
In sort of the picture that I just saw.
Let's move on, Jalen, before we get fired.
I have a concussion, and it gave me flashbacks.
It won't happen today, but it's going to happen eventually. Carmelo Anthony is going to sign for the veterans minimum $2.4 million with the Rockets. Now, if Carmelo signs with the Rockets, you know how Vegas always comes out with the odds? If he signs with the Rockets, take a look at this information. The chances of them winning a championship will actually decrease with Carmelo Anthony. Jalen, this makes absolutely no basketball sense to me whatsoever. I can see how someone could justify that, but in my mind, adding Carmelo Anthony makes any basketball team better, especially since there's no opportunity cost.
First and foremost, I agree with you. When you get Carmelo Anthony at $2 million a year in the Houston Rockets,
that makes you worse?
a bargain.
That makes you worse?
Especially when you lost Trevor Ariza and Bamute. To try and justify the statistic, because I work on a sports television program, I'll say this. If you're trying to beat the Golden State Warriors, what's the strength of Carmelo Anthony's game?
Isolation, mid-range post-ups, turnaround, face, jab step, go baseline, score. Like, not really what the Rockets do.
What's the weakness of his game?
Everything else involved, especially involving the other half of the basketball floor where you have to stop people from scoring the basketball.
And the Golden State Warriors get buckets.
They get buckets. And someone tells me that Draymond Green would look across, he'd look at Carmelo Anthony and say, just give me the ball, guys. We'll figure it out. Just give me the ball, and we'll take it from there. How do you think Carmelo would have to adjust his game and his scoring expectations to fit in with the Rockets?
I think playing in OKC was a good precursor to what now his career will be. And I respectfully said, if there was a big three last season, Adams was a part of it, not Melo.
You know I love Adams.
It's going to be the same thing with Capella.
Oh.
And so now as the fourth option for the Houston Rockets, it'll be second, third, fourth pass sometime.
Do you know who he's going to be?
Now.
He's going to be like in that Ryan Anderson role. That, like, you're going to spread the floor, be a shooter, but we're not going to just dump it to you and let you do your thing the way we do Chris and James.
No, there will be times where that happens.
Second unit, sure.
There will be times where he gets a chance to, for this 6 minutes, you could get 5 or 6 shots.
Of course.
There's going to be times because you're going to need to still put points on the board.
Oh, they will run.
They will
have sets they didn't have last year because they have Carmelo for that second unit, where it'll look like Carmelo on the Knicks. You know what I mean? For a couple possessions.
But the problem for Melo, and it happened in this year's playoffs against the Utah Jazz, is that when you start to go through all of the matchups, it's like, who can we put him on, and then who can we hide him from? And so for the Houston Rockets, you already have James Harden out there. And now you add him out there, it's going to create a different dynamic that probably sways the odds that you're talking about.
And it's also like, here's a serious question before we move on. In crunch time in the playoffs against a great team like the Warriors, would you rather have Carmelo Anthony on the floor or P.J. Tucker on the floor?
P.J. Tucker.
Me too. That's not good news for Carmelo Anthony. Moving on. Before he signed with the Nuggets, free agent Isaiah Thomas actually reached out to Danny Ainge. Thanks to an article by Woj. He called up Danny Ainge and said, if the opportunity is there, I would just like to let you know that I'd love to come back. After he played through injury and tragedy and then got traded, are you surprised that he actually reached out to the GM that did that to him and said, I would love to come back?
That's not the news. That's how it's going to be covered. But I pull you guys behind the curtain.
Take us behind the curtain, Mr. Rose.
That's a player that's just looking for a job. Mm-hmm. And you calling phone numbers that people recognize.
Probably wasn't his first call.
That's how that works. He got a $2-3 million deal to play with the Denver Nuggets, and a relationship with their head coach helped foster them bringing him in. As I've talked about on this program, I said the Denver Nuggets, other than the Golden State Warriors, and obviously the Los Angeles Lakers, anytime you get LeBron James, continue to be one of those teams that are on the rise, and I love what they did this offseason, including in the draft, and I know Michael Porter Jr. is going to be out for the year. But re-signing Jokic and Barton, I just think they're on the come up.
I think so, too. Yep. When I saw this news story, I said, I need to talk to Jalen about that. Because you are someone who respects the OGs of the game and legacies. And you're also a mentor to many young basketball players. During the tension between Kawhi Leonard and his camp, whenever people say his camp, they really mean his uncle, and the Spurs, David Robinson, Spurs legend, repeatedly tried to reach out to Kawhi Leonard just to get some clarification, to offer some advice, and just to reach out to him and talk to him, see where his head is at. Kawhi Leonard and his people never, ever returned David Robinson's calls. Why do you think they didn't return his calls? Would you have returned his calls? Does he owe it to the game to return his calls?
First, in talking about this topic in late January, being somebody like a fly on the wall and trying to break news for the San Antonio Spurs is almost like breaking into Fort Knox. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so for those that haven't been paying attention, Kawhi Leonard is actually a quiet human being by nature.
Very.
Have you ever watched him play basketball?
Yes.
He performs with a stoic demeanor. He's not really demonstrative. They can be up 10 or down 10. They can be in the NBA Finals. It could be a major game. He could be going against a big-time opponent. But his demeanor doesn't change. If David Robinson is calling me, I respect the Hall of Famer, the OG, that I've talked to in passing for the last few years as I won Defensive Player of the Year, as I've won Finals MVP. Of course, the level of respect is there. But if I'm estranged from the organization, he's calling on behalf of the team.
Exactly.
He's not just representing my personal best interest. So therefore, me talking to him equals me talking to them.
Exactly. That's why I understand this. At first, I was like, oh, man, David Robinson called your phone. Like, you got to pick up that call. But then I was like, he's not calling to find out how he's doing. He's not calling as a friend. He's not calling as a mentor. He's calling because Popovich and R.C. Buford and the rest of the staff asked him to call to reach out to Kawhi to use his sort of legendary status as leverage to make him pick up the phone. And he's also going to say, we all know the message he's going to deliver. The Spurs are the greatest organization. You'd be making a huge mistake if you leave. You know, we know what he's going to say. So he probably looks down at his phone, sees that it's David Robinson for the third time, and says, I know how this conversation is going to go, and let me just not have it.
I call him Quiet Storm. He doesn't speak. That's just his personality. And you're not trying to disrespect the OG, but when he's calling and talking about the Spurs, it's our and we. On the other end of the phone, you're talking about mine and me. Mm-hmm. So y'all might as well not even have a conversation.
And something tells me David Robinson wasn't reaching out when things were going well. You know what I mean? He wasn't checking in just to congratulate Kawhi on the championship. He's only calling when things are going poorly when someone asks him to call. Moving on. Jaylen Brown is on vacation in Bali. Sometimes you're on vacation, you're like, let me see how the local basketball culture is like. Let me go play in a pickup run and see what's going on. So Jaylen Brown's playing the pickup run, and I was like, oh, this video's going to be great. Just Jaylen Brown dunking on people. Look at Jaylen Brown dominating this game. But it's a 5-minute clip, and you start watching, you're like, these dudes in Bali are pretty good. like this, look at this. They're hitting threes. I was very impressed by the Bali ballers. Look, he got Jaylen Brown up in the air, swing, three. Jalen, more impressed by Jaylen Brown's performance or the Bali ballers?
The Bali ballers.
I'm saying.
Because you got a future NBA All-Star out there that's a lockdown defender going for your pump fake. You're giving up a good shot to get a great shot. That's really impressive.
I was really impressed with them. I mean, one of our producers did actual research for this show, which we rarely do, and took the description of the YouTube clip and put it through Google Translate. It was actually like a basketball academy. So those might be some of the best Bali ballers, but I want to respect Jaylen Brown for getting a run in while he's in Bali. That's not what I would be up to. I'll tell you that much. And two, big shout to the Bali ballers. Next time I'm in Bali, which will probably be never, I will definitely pay homage to that basketball academy and let them rain threes on me as well. Moving on. Enes Kanter was on my man Colin Cowherd's show. Big shout to the herd.
Shout out to the herd. That's my guy.
So he was on his show, and he said so many nice things about Russell Westbrook. Called him a brother, called him a great teammate, one of the best teammates I ever had. And he said he was just showering praise on Russell Westbrook. But of course, because we're the media, we only focus on the negative, which is this clip from Enes Kanter.
I was sitting down, and some of the players then come say what's up to me and come say hi to me. And I was scared to even look at them. Because if Westbrook catches me even say hi to them, he's going to cuss at me and yell at me. There was a player. I said, what's up? It was in Golden State. I'm not going to tell who. I said, what's up to him? And then he turned around. He catch me and say, what's up to him? He started yelling at me. He started cussing at me. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, my gosh. Please forgive me.
First of all, he's like, he was in Golden State. He wears number 35. He's 17 tall. His nickname's KD, but I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Well, a couple of things. He's a young player in the league, and you take a lot from the vets that you're around.
Sure.
And this fosters itself in a lot of different ways. How to work on the floor, when to get to practice, what drills to do, how to eat, how to try to take care of your money. Like, this plays out in a lot of different ways. Social media, relationships.
Everything.
Leadership.
All aspects of life.
No question about it. And what he was trying to show Enes Kanter is that isn't your friend no more. He left us because he felt we weren't good enough to take him where he ultimately ended up going. So that should be personal. He was trying to teach him that lesson. He should have also taught him, and it probably was a Clyde Frazier jersey, or it better be, or a Patrick Ewing jersey, or a Bernard King jersey. Don't be showing up in an interview with a uniform
it's like,
jersey on without a shirt under it.
Without a shirt underneath it and wearing some jeans. Like, when you're a pro basketball player, you cannot wear your own jersey. I can't say this enough times. You cannot wear your own jersey. You've done this before?
Here's what
You've never wore your own jersey.
Never. Here's
good. Because I would cancel this program myself.
Here's what he was doing. He was doing like when people go to a town and they tweet, hey, I'm in Atlanta. What's going on tonight? That's what an NBA player is doing when they're walking around with an NBA jersey on. They're letting it be known this is who they are.
This is one thing that Kanter does well.
Unspoken.
As someone who's a die-easy Knicks fan, this is one thing that Kanter has done very well since he got here. He's like, I'm a ride or die Knicks for life. Like, he's just owned the whole thing. He's like, remember when we went at LeBron? Like, he knows what buttons to push to get himself in with the Knicks fans, and it's working. It's working.
All you got to do besides be productive, because they're really knowledgeable. And of course they want to win championships, which they haven't done since the early 70s. And I was fortunate enough to play a short time in New York. If they think you're tough. Mm-hmm. That's what they appreciate.
You don't have to be tough. Just act tough.
And the difference between Enes Kanter and Charles Oakley
There's a lot.
I've seen one actually commit physical violence on the floor. I see another one tweet about it. But for the fans, it can be construed nowadays as almost the same thing.
Of course. Yep.
Jalen been moving, Jacoby moving, we keep
Not everything is worth talking about, so if you want to talk about it, we'll hit the brakes. If you don't, we'll keep it moving. You ready?
Let's get it.
Breaking news. Ryan Lochte might not be that smart. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Okay, Ryan Lochte, we all know from the controversy in Brazil in which he sort of implicated himself in some sort of thing and lied about it, blah, blah, blah. Well, now he's being suspended because he posted this picture of himself getting an IV, which is illegal, and he is now suspended from competitive swimming. You're only supposed to get about 100 milligrams. It's obviously more than 100 milligrams. Jalen, how dumb is Ryan Lochte?
That almost is a failed test.
It is. That's a failed test. But it's almost like a failed test in which you gave yourself the test and then failed it and then posted the results.
Correct.
That's the level of failed test this is for Ryan Lochte. This is the second time that he's been national news that he's basically started every controversy himself. If he just kept his mouth shut, he would probably still be swimming and have more Olympic medals.
He did well on Dancing with the Stars.
He did? You watching that show? It's a Disney program.
Yes.
Yes. Moving on. Julio Jones does not plan on reporting to the Falcons for camp.
The Millennial Falcon?
The Millennial Falcon.
Keep it moving. He'll be there for the start of the season.
He will.
I've had it on my fantasy tune the last 2 years. That's so dope. Our program is fly.
A naked man was arrested in Planet Fitness. You want to find out why?
Hit the brakes.
I like this story. Planet Fitness has a marketing campaign in which they sell their gym as a judgment-free zone. So he showed up naked, started doing yoga poses, and when the cops came, he was like, I thought this was a judgment-free zone. Why am I being judged for this? Do you think that the cops were just in arresting him?
I just would have liked to see how they got him handcuffed. That puts everybody in an awkward spot. You at the gym. There are other people watching.
Do you continue to work out?
Trying to do their job.
Do you continue to work out? There's a naked dude doing a yoga pose.
No, I'm laughing at him. And I'm
finally,
calling the cops.
Dwight Howard has some plans for his stint in Washington. Keep moving or hit the brakes. Dwight Howard had this to say about Washington
today and the rest of my career here, which I plan to be here for till I retire. It's about this team. It's about us winning.
Well, he plans on retiring in Washington. He also said that he planned on retiring basically everywhere else he has ever played. Jalen, what do you think about Dwight in Washington?
The future Hall of Famer. It's going to help them defensively, rebounding, and give them an anchor of toughness,
rim runs,
down low. How about this? There have been times where people felt like John Wall and Dwight Howard were two of the most athletic people at their position.
Jalen reports Kevin Love extension, $120 million, 4 years. Are they trying to make him a Cav for life, or are they trying to sign him to a tradable contract?
Both. Because like DeMar DeRozan, if a team feels like they can move you for a player that's better, you're a part of the conversation.
Remember when the Clippers,
that's just the business of the game.
When the Clippers signed Blake, I was like, oh, they're really committed to Blake Griffin.
And that's what I
he's
told you
He's
then.
going to be a Clipper forever. I can't believe they did this. Next thing you know, he's wearing a Pistons uniform.
Shame what happened to Flip.
Shame what happened to Flip.
Like in above the rim.
One of my favorite storylines coming into this season will be what's going to happen to Kevin Love. Because he could explode. Like, I think that he could actually explode being the focal point of an offense.
And I think that's what this does in the offseason. A lot of this is about narrative for a guy that's already been an all-star player, been a part of a championship-winning team.
Contest winner.
His numbers are going to be there.
Oh, they are. I mean, they were before. But, like, even now, I think they'll be up even more. They might actually, like, dribble up the ball, throw it to the wing, dump it into him, and be like, this is how we start the offense.
They're going to be doing a lot of that.
I can't wait. I'm a Kevin Love supporter. And finally,
you better be. You have no choice. You get kicked out of your race.
That's how it works. I'll be a racial free agent.
Well, what we should do one day on here, I want to have a racial draft like they did on Chappelle's show.
No.
We can't do that?
One more thing. I'm through episode 3 of Power now.
Very nice. Can I give you guys a couple of blacks that we want to donate?
No, just stop. No, you can't.
Okay.
No, you can't. I want to have a show tomorrow. Okay.
I got a couple of good names.
I know you do, Jalen. I'm sure you do. We can talk about that off wax. Right now we have microphones in front of us. We're recording this, and it's going to be broadcast to a national audience. To our podcast listeners, and our podcast listeners know that it is Tuesday, so that means tomorrow. What, Jalen?
Hey, ladies!
Tomorrow is Women's Wednesday, Women's Crush Wednesday, whatever the heck we call it. And it's happening tomorrow. So ladies, call 985-80-JALEN. We're taking exclusively female voicemails tomorrow. Again, ladies, 985-80-JALEN. Fellas, get your ladies to call in. Whatever you got to do. And we'll be back tomorrow. Why's that?
We're not done. We're not done. Got to give the people time. Give people what they want.
They're my little guys. I love them.